Hi, everybody. It's the Happy Hustle Show. It is a very completely random time today because I am absolutely full on in my day job today, and I have got um, back-to-back meetings with just loads and loads of lovely people. But I only have a really tiny window between now and 3 o'clock. So I didn't want to miss out doing the Happy Hustle Show. So I thought I would just do it super early. So thank you to anybody that is watching on replay. And thank you to anybody that is actually available at this time and is able to come and tune in. The other thing to say is I am looking like a 1970s, look at this, a 1970s call operator because outside today, I am so super lucky to live in a housing estate, is that the right word? That has a kind of, hi Claire, has a communal like landscaped area. And because we're the very first house in the estate, we look out onto a lovely landscape scene, which is fantastic, which is all, hi Christine, which is all maintained by a factor, by a company that kind of comes in. So the factor employs gardeners. So I'm sitting at my window and outside the gardeners are using like chainsaws to treat the shrubbery and everything, which is quite annoying, but also so amazing because that is just something that everybody in our whole estate pays for, and I get to look at. We're like the luckiest because I get to actually look out at that. But it is very noisy because they're using chainsaws and I'm right at the window. So I have put on my 1970s telephone operator headset so that you can't hear most of it. You can probably hear a little bit of whining, but it's lovely. Hi, Dorothy. Hi, Manuela. Hi, Susan. Oh, thank you so much for coming to join me. I'm just going to pitch my papers to one side. I've got another meeting at 3 o'clock again for the day job, but I just wanted to pop on and spend some time with you, particularly because I know there's a bit of a meh feeling in the UK at the moment, isn't there? Because England is about to go into lockdown, Northern Ireland is in lockdown, Wales is in lockdown, and today the First Minister of Scotland, where we are not in lockdown but under high restrictions, particularly in the area that I live in, has basically said if the UK government don't confirm that furlough can be taken after the end of this month or after the beginning of December, it's going to, what was it she said? It's going to inform our decisions here because although probably we don't necessarily need to go into massive lockdown right now because there are very enhanced restrictions in a lot of Scotland, we might need to do it at some point in the future because obviously it depends how it goes. But if there wouldn't be furlough payments available then it kind of sounded like she was saying we might need to do it now. So although we've just gone into a new phase that started at 6 a.m. this morning, but that might all change around the next 2 days. So anyway, most of us are in lockdown or just heading into lockdown. And it's not like, it doesn't feel like a joyful thing, does it? I'm all about happiness and joy, and lockdown doesn't feel joyful, and it's okay. Like, I'm not about be joyful regardless of when things are rubbish outside. You have to experience the gambit of emotions. But what I am about is going, right, okay, this isn't great. Like, it's not great if you're in lockdown at the moment or you're heading into it shortly for a month. However, we kind of know what we're getting this time. When we went into lockdown at the beginning, no one had any idea how long it was going to go on for, what it was going to look like. There was a lot of fear, there was an awful lot of, like, I remember the first time that I went out to a supermarket, because right before lockdown happened in Scotland, my son ended up with a high temperature. So it was the second last day of school before schools like closed everywhere. I think they all closed everywhere pretty much at the same time. And he develops like a high temperature overnight. Now, again, because this was all new, the teachers were trying to, my youngest son is 16, so he would have been sitting exams in May, which obviously didn't go ahead. But the teachers, because knew that if school shut, that the exams were probably going to either not go ahead or take some sort of different form, were doing these like tests in school, not like prelims, but kind of like prelims, and just trying to gather as much evidence as they could to inform the grades, which, you know, was absolutely the right thing to do. But anyway, my son knew he had a couple of tests on the last Friday of school, and in Scotland, that's just a half day on a Friday that the kids go to school, certainly in the area that I live in. And when my son developed a temperature overnight, I was like, again, the whole COVID thing was just so new. And I was thinking, oh, he probably should go to school though, because he's going to miss these exams. And if he misses these exams, it might have an impact and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I did realize that him going to school wasn't the right thing to do. And so he had a temperature, he then developed a cough. Now, there was no COVID testing really at the time, so I don't know if he had COVID or not, but it did mean that we all had to self-isolate for 14 days. So I was self-isolating from that Thursday night, really, through the first 2 weeks of lockdown. And I remember, like, the only thing I did was literally, I didn't even go to the door to clap for the NHS because I didn't think you were allowed to do that. So I just opened the window and I like clapped out my window so that I wasn't, because I was still in the house. Anyway, because that was so stringent and so like, I just no, like, it was like being in a movie, wasn't it? It kind of still is, but certainly back then it definitely was. Um, the first time I was able to leave the house, like, I didn't want to. And when I went to the supermarket and like I bumped into somebody that I knew, and it was so lovely to see the person that I knew, but at the same time, like, I went out, I had gloves, like plastic gloves on, and I had like my coat kind of zipped up to my neck. And when I came back in from the supermarket, I put it straight in the washing machine and, you know, like disinfected my hands and everything, like, disinfected all the shopping, because like it was just like, yeah, just didn't know what you were doing. And it was such a kind of fear-based thing, the beginning of lockdown. Now, going back into lockdown now is still not great, but we are so much further down the road that we just understand a little bit more what it's going to look like. And all I would say to you is that lockdown for the next 4 weeks will mean there's a whole lot of things you were maybe going to do that you can't do. Like, I know somebody who's getting married in a couple of weeks and they're not going to be able to do that, probably. And that's rotten. Like, there's no doubt that's rotten. I've got lots of friends that are having big birthdays around this time of year, and the, it, lockdown definitely stops you from doing things. If you had a plan and you can't do it, then that is rubbish. That is absolutely rubbish. However, to kind of manage our joy and to try and see, right, at lockdown, it's, can you see it as a good thing? It's a good thing because as Boris says, we're saving lives and we're protecting the NHS, and we're trying to look after our own health and our family's health. So it's a good thing in that way. But is the restriction on what we can do over the next month a good thing? How can it be? How can you go, right, let's reframe this to see how we can make the most out of this. So what is that thing that you've always wanted to do? When you look back on the last lockdown, what was it that you, with hindsight, you went, oh, I wish I'd done that? Because you're now seeing a whole load of people that have maybe, like, I wrote a book in people saying, oh, I wrote a book in lockdown, or, I managed to kind of get this qualification because I took this training course that I had been putting off for ages, but I just didn't have time to do it. Like, what is it that, if you could go back and start the last lockdown again, what would you do differently? Like, did you up your daily exercise because you were going out for your 1 hour of permitted exercise, or did you sit on the couch and drink wine? Do you know what would you do differently? Because we're now going back into a similar thing, but we've now got the experience. So we've got the benefit of hindsight. So you can now go, if the area that you're in is going to be in lockdown for the next 4 weeks, and that means that you're not going to be at your job, or you're going to be working from home, so you've got all this additional time when you would otherwise been traveling, or whatever it means for you, or you're completely furloughed. So you're just like, you've got a lot of extra time in your hands and you're still getting paid, or you've been made redundant, or whatever it is, whatever circumstance you find yourself in. What can you do during lockdown? Like, don't be like, you don't need to be one of these kind of perfect, oh, I'm going to use this as a wonderful opportunity. I don't mean that. But what I do mean is we can't really do anything about the fact that we're pretty much going to have to stay in for the next 4 weeks. So what what how could that be a positive for you? So for example, if for a lot of people here were on my Happy Side Hustle challenge last week. So for those of you that came up with a side hustle idea, maybe this is going to provide you with the time to really get making the thing or creating the service that you want to bring to the world. If you decided on something that wasn't online, I would probably revisit that. I would probably, I think for the next probably 6 months to future proof your side hustle, um, making it some sort of online thing, whether it's a product that you sell online, whether it's a service you deliver online, I think is going to be the answer. I think a lot of the industries that have have got challenges are the ones where it's very difficult to kind of move things online. So where you have the choice, then create something that is a little bit lockdown proof, that is a little bit yeah, that's something that it takes a little bit of that overwhelming fear away. So it is when somebody in authority, when someone in the government stands up and says, "Listen, deaths are getting out of control. We're going to have to go back into lockdown." That's fearful for most people, and rightly so, because that's what helps you to understand that you need to adapt your behaviour. But it's about going. There's a glimmer here. There's a glimmer of, if you have an online side hustle, there's something to keep focusing on. There's something to keep doing. And it doesn't have to be your side hustle. Like, if that's not top of your mind, it could be, what could you achieve? Could you write a book? Could you like paint your house from top to bottom? Like, you probably, if in Scotland we do decide to go into lockdown, I think it would be very, very wise to go and buy your emulsion paint like today. Because if it's anything like fence paint was in the summer, I spent like months searching for fence paint. I bought some that I found in Tesco, and then I didn't have enough, and then I couldn't get the same color. Literally had half a fence painted for, I think, from April to July, because I couldn't find it. I couldn't find the rest of the fence paint. So if you think about, make a plan, set yourself a goal, whatever that is, but set yourself some sort of positive goal and go, okay, this isn't ideal, but I'm going to use this opportunity to what? Fill in the blank. Consciously create your lockdown. Like, really just find something that will make that. But by the end of the year, by the time we get to December, you're able to go, do you know what? I achieved that. Make it measurable, make it tick offable. Set yourself a milestone. Susan, you're working in nursery class, so you'll be working. Yeah, yeah. I think everywhere schools and nurseries are in, which is great. If it isn't going to impact you, then that's great. You did so little. You wasted so much time. Yeah. So, well, I wouldn't even think of it as wasting time, Susan. None of us knew. It was just massive uncertainty. Like, I did some things, but I didn't do as much as with hindsight now, when I look at the amount of time I had available, because I was doing a lot of face-to-face training just before lockdown, and then that was it. Like, everything was pulled. It was all pulled. So there were weeks when I was still working in the Happy Side Hustle stuff, but there were weeks when I would have been at my day job that I wasn't, that I could have done more for my Happy Side Hustle stuff and for building up my own kind of personalized jewelry and stuff, but I didn't use the time as effectively as I would have, which is what made me think, this time I'm gonna make a plan, and I'm gonna decide what my goals are by the end of assuming we go into lockdown. We're not in the area of Scotland I'm in yet. Sorry, I'm in. We've not announced it yet. We're under severe restrictions, but actually, randomly today, all our hospitality has opened up again. It can now open through the day until 6 o'clock, but without any alcohol. So for the last about 3 weeks, maybe close to 4 weeks, it's all been closed in the central belt of Scotland where I am. But we've moved into our tier 3 from today, and hospitality is all reopening. So that's really weird, just as the rest of the country is in lockdown. So whether that'll last or not, I don't know. And then it's just like you just really feel for people in hospitality, or of course any industry that's impacted. Tracy, my restrictions would change. I homeschool my son and I'm a full-time carer for his dad, so nothing changes for me really. Dorothy, you have a book you want to self-publish. Dorothy, if there was ever a better time to write a book, it's now. Get the fire on, or get a blanket and light some candles and just create a lovely, like wintry. Oh, that just like sitting with a little tartan blanket and a candle on and writing. That just sounds amazing. Um, let's see, Lynn. I want to make my garden look good. It still looks like a tip. So yeah, I'm really not green fingered at all, but I was really taken by the whole, like, everybody was sharing pictures of their garden. That's how we ended up painting the fence. We hadn't painted our garden fence for a long time, right? It was quite embarrassing with hindsight. But anyway, so we painted the fence and we cut the grass, but I've literally got like one tree and a couple of artificial plants. That's not good, is it? Artificial plants. And that's it, because I can't keep anything alive and I don't really love spending a lot of time. I like spend time in the garden. I don't like a lot of time gardening. So, um, but towards the end of the summer, bit of a long story, but my friend has ended up building us a decking, which is just incredible. Like, he's so practical, and yeah, so it's sort of half built now. He's obviously only doing it like a week. He comes down here every weekend and a lot of evenings, which is just incredible because, like I said, it's just a favourite. It's so sweet of him. So by next summer, I'm gonna have a lovely garden, like with the decking, a lovely low maintenance garden. So yeah, I feel excited about that, but it's not actually me that's doing that, so I can't claim it. So Lynn, yeah, but my garden totally looks like a tip at the moment because of that, because there's like bags of concrete and wooden planks all over it because the decking isn't quite made. Buy craft things online, Lynn. Why not? Yeah, golden opportunity now, Manuela. It really is, and it's just about your frame of mind. And I've seen a lot of people today, talking about, how worried they are. And I get it. Like, and I'm not saying that's not valid at all. Like, going into a lockdown, it is worrying. And, it's not, no one wants this to happen. Like, no one wants it to happen. But it's about going, okay, this is where we are. So how can I build some joy into this? And it's not, it's unlikely you're going to have a massively, like the best month of your life. You might, but it's not like giving that expectation. But it's about going, okay, now that we know that we're going to get to the end of this, what is it we want to say that we've done? Because if time frees up, and I know it's different for everybody, it might not make a difference to you, but if time has freed up, then what are you going to do with it? Claire, nothing really changes for me. I've continued to work from home through the whole time. We did get a puppy in February just in time for lockdown. Oh, Claire, I was so envious of people. Like, puppies are really expensive now because everybody wants a puppy. Our neighbours got a puppy. In fact, they got it. So it was already ordered. That's not the right word. It was already purchased, but they had to go and collect it a couple of weeks into lockdown, and they were really like, because they had to collect it from somewhere that wasn't in our local area and more than 5 miles away, and they were like, "Oh, we might not, probably shouldn't be doing this," but oh, it's so cute, but such a perfect time to have a puppy because everybody's around and for training it. And I was, I'm really, really keen to get a puppy, but my husband is really, really not keen. So we won't be doing that then. Yeah, so I'd love to have that time now. You keep so busy. Um, Santina, sorry, internet shopping is going to rule the world. Yes, it is. So if there was ever a better signal that everybody is going to buy their presents online this Christmas, this is it. Yeah, you need to have that presence there. Christine, I really don't think it's going to massively change anything for me this time, except I might get a little busier with work initially. Hopefully, I can continue to use the quiet times to crochet. I'm working on the Wellbeing COVID helpline for Wiltshire Council. Oh, fantastic, Christine. That must be so interesting. Wow. Linda, I've been in lockdown for a year now. With that time, medical issues aside, I have taken courses, improved my skills, learned about new passive income opportunities, self-help audiobooks, lots of meditation, redefining and rebuilding myself. I think you get the idea. I find I have to do something, can't just sit there doing nothing. Linda, that's incredible. What a fantastic way to look at things. Yeah, that's absolutely brilliant. Susan Archer, no alcohol. Yeah, I know. I know. So, yeah, there was an awful lot of alcohol in the first lockdown, wasn't there? And yes, pubs opening up here and restaurants not able to serve alcohol. There's a message. We need to keep the alcohol for Christmas. It's already written, Dorothy, just not edited. Well, you can edit it, can't you? You could edit in a month. Yeah, I think you could. Sounds awesome. Just got the notification. Hi, Janet. Oh, sorry, I don't know why. It's been a bit slow getting to you. Normally pings out right away. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say because I haven't. I'm just checking to see if the other person's started for the meeting. They haven't yet, but I do have a meeting that's supposed to start at 3 o'clock. So I'm just watching my emails here. So I just wanted to pop on to say there's an opportunity here. There's an opportunity here. I'm not saying lockdown is joyful. I am saying it's completely normal to feel anxious, to feel, like there's a nervous energy, I would say, in the air at the moment as we all kind of settle into this, I guess, this kind of realization that lockdowns, this might not be the last one again. It's really going to depend what happens with the vaccine and the treatments, and what happens with the R number. And, it may be that we have a lockdown now and then we have a little bit of a relaxation at Christmas and then there's another lockdown in January. So it's about going, right, okay, given that this is the life that we find ourselves in, what can we do instead of what can't we do? So just check yourself when you're thinking about it and go, right, okay, how do I make the most of it? How do I actually make the most of it? So hope that was helpful. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Happy Hustle shows generally just last about 15 minutes. This one has been 22 minutes. I'm just still checking my email to make sure the other person hasn't turned up. So yeah, I will be back on Thursday. The Happy Hustle shows are always at a bit of a random time because they have to fit in with whatever's going on through my day. But if you register so if you've clicked this time, I think that means that you will get a message the next time I go live. If you didn't click on the button, you'll get a little reminder message, I think in a couple of hours, that will just say, please click on here to get a message next time, should you want to. And what I do is I just kind of ping you out a message just before I go live. But these are always available in catch up, so you don't have to catch me live. If you go to either my YouTube channel or to Julie Begbie, the Happy Side Hustle Coach page on a Monday and a Thursday, you'll see there's been a new episode added. So I will be back on Thursday. Have a fantastic week, everybody, and remember to make that plan for what you can do. Take care.